So the leftovers should be gone by now. Or at least if you're like me, you wish they were gone. You know, I'm not much of a turkey lover. Turkey once a year is more than enough for me. The extra tables have been put away and those horrible football games are over. Or at least I hope they're over. I do hear there's something called the Super Bowl still to endure.
Speak for yourself.
Mm-hmm. But my question is, and Kurt, can you turn this down just a little bit? Are we beyond thanks? Oh, Thanksgiving is past, and we set aside that one time a year to remember all the blessings we've been given. But then we're very quick to move on to Black Friday and Cyber Monday and to prepare for the next holiday, get that Christmas tree up and all those things going. The giving of thanks. What's going on here?
Look at me.
Well, maybe my sermon is really short. Uh-oh. Okay. I think there's haints going on here. Okay, I got it. The giving of thanks seems to get left behind, kind of like Aunt Mabel's mince pie. How many like mince pie? There are a few people, I'm surprised. And the cranberry sauce, it kind of gets shoved in the back corner of the fridge. You know, so Thanksgiving is past. During the month of November, I enviously watch as people post on Facebook very diligently something every day they're thankful for. And I think, wow, to be so disciplined, to think about what you're going to put and write something out every single day, isn't that amazing? I should do that. They're thankful for things like hot coffee or wonderful children or a job that's loved. And again, I think I should take the time and effort to do that same thing. But I don't. I don't. It's time-consuming to think about that. Oh, it's not really difficult for us to count our blessings. Most of us could quickly jot down a list right now. If I asked you to pull out a piece of paper, you could put together a list. It might start with family or friends or food or clothing or cars or home or health or freedom. What would be on your list? An unknown author had a little different list. He said, I'm thankful for the one who prepares dinner and says, it's hot dogs tonight, because it means that he's home with me and not with someone else. I'm thankful for the teenager who is complaining about doing dishes, because then she is at home and not out on the streets. Or for the taxes I pay, because it means I'm employed. Or for the mess that I have to clean up after Thanksgiving dinner, because it means I'm surrounded by family or friends. Or for clothes that fit too snug, because it means I have enough to eat. Or for my shadow that watches me work, because it means I'm in the sunshine. Or for lawn that needs mowing, windows that need cleaning, gutters that need fixing, because it means I have a home. Or for all the complaining I hear about the government, because it means we have freedom of speech. Or for that parking spot I find way at the far end of the parking lot, because it means I'm able to walk and I've been blessed with transportation. Or for that huge heating bill, because it means I'm warm. Or for the lady behind me in church that sings off key. I wonder if they're talking about me. Because it means I can hear. Or for the pile of laundry and ironing, because it means I have clothes to wear. or for weariness and aching muscles at the end of the day, because it means I'm capable of hard work. For the alarm that goes off in the early morning hours, because it indeed means I'm alive. What are you thankful for? What are your blessings? Recently, Paris arrived at the church to find folks lined up outside waiting for our food pantry to open. For those of you who aren't around here during the day, this is a common occurrence, especially on days when there are fresh vegetables and fruits to be given away. On this particular day, a woman said, "Morning, Pastor," as Paris walked by. And Paris responded back, "Morning, how are you?" She said, "I am blessed." Paris thought, blessed? Blessed? Standing in a food line, ready to take whatever food someone will give you? You are blessed? What does it take to feel blessed? Are we blessed only if we have stuff to count? The Apostle Paul demonstrated an attitude of thankfulness that moved beyond possessions, beyond things we can count, to where all gratitude and blessings begin. Paul said, "I have heard of your faith in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I have heard of your love toward the saints." Paul is saying our thankfulness is rooted in our faith. It's a gift that's been given to us, not something that we can tangibly hold on to. It's a gift that's been given to us as we live our lives as disciples. And yet, that gift needs to be the very foundation of our being. Do we make it that way? Paul says he doesn't cease in giving thanks for the Ephesians. In fact, Paul is well known for expressing his gratitude. If you've read his letters, you will see that each one of them has a beginning that talks about his thankfulness for the people that he's writing to. And in fact, in the letter writing conventions of Paul's day, it was common to include those expressions of thanksgiving. Paul was a very educated man, and he would have known that this was proper style. He used it in all of his epistles, all of his letters, except his one to the Galatians. So people have wondered about this for a long time. And many have speculated that it's very probable or possible that in that case the oversight was intentional. You see, it's speculated that Paul was so distressed with the problems in that church in Galatia that he couldn't think of any basis for thanking them. So he didn't. He didn't include a thanksgiving in that one, which says he wasn't including a thanksgiving just as a matter of style or courtesy, but rather because he believed it was warranted. Each one of the times he thanked, he wrote in detail about what he was thankful that they did. Letting someone know that you're thankful for something they have done or an attitude they demonstrate has an effect on them. It encourages that person to continue in that way. We all know that when we're thanked for something, whether in the workplace or in the home, it makes us want to keep on keeping on. It's very likely that Paul had that in mind when he wrote his letter to the Ephesians. And then there's another effect. Paul is a better person for his efforts for having thanked the Ephesians because in expressing praise to God for them, he's recognizing all the ways in which God is blessing the work he's doing in all those churches that he's writing to. Jewish philosopher Martin Buber explained that our human interactions take on two different forms. The first he called the I-it relationship. This is when we have no vital concern for other people. We're kind of detached from them. You know, you stop in a restaurant for lunch, you're in a hurry, the server takes your order. You might not even remember what your server looks like. You'll say, which one of those is mine? And because your relationship is essentially the same as that of a robot. It's an I-it. Buber explained a second way in which we relate to others as the I-thou relationship. This is when the other person ceases to be just a something and instead becomes a someone. I-thou is where I view you, not in terms of what you can do for me, but in terms of who you are for yourself. Sincerely thanking someone from a deep place of gratitude forces us to see the other person as thou and not it. And you know, it has the effect of changing us as well as them. Paul demonstrates that I-thou relationship with the Ephesians. They are much more than just persons providing service. His expressions of gratitude outline specific qualities. He first gives thanks for faith and love, and then he gives thanks for the way they show that love toward one another. He was saying, I have heard that you've been living love, much like our signs over there in Ephesus, and for this reason, I don't cease to give thanks for you. Success, Paul recognizes, is being a person who trusts Christ completely and who loves neighbor consistently. Success is being a person who trusts Christ completely and who loves neighbor consistently. I talk about this as the cross relationship. Faith in Jesus is the vertical dimension of life, and love of neighbor is the horizontal relationship. It creates a perfectly balanced and fulfilling life, and we view it as the cross. Think about that. How are you living love? How are you showing your gratitude to God and to neighbor? As 2008 dawned, John Kralik was living in one room in Los Angeles. Life wasn't good. He was divorced from his second wife. He had a girlfriend, but she broke up with him just a few days before Christmas. And he had a law practice, but it was on life support. You know, this was those depressed economic times that ended 2007 and began 2008. And so as the new year dawned, life seemed pretty bleak. He and his girlfriend had planned to hike in the mountains on New Year's Day, but now he found himself alone. And he thought, you know what? I'm getting out of here. I'm going on that hike anyway. And so he was hiking through the mountains, and it was during that walk that he became aware of a voice saying, until you learn to be grateful for the things you have, you will not receive the things you want. He said, it was the oddest thing. He said, you have to know, I'm not this way. I don't hear voices. I don't feel that connected, but Somehow, somewhere, I heard this voice as clear as ever, just like someone was speaking it aloud. Until you learn to be grateful for the things you have, you will not receive the things you want. I thought, as he walked down the mountain, what do I do with that? What does that mean for me? How do I show that I'm grateful? What do I do with that? And so as he pondered that, the next day he got a thank you note in the mail, ironically from his ex-girlfriend, thanking him for his Christmas gift. And it was a beautifully written note. And John thought, maybe the way I show that I'm grateful is by writing thank you notes. Maybe I should write a thank you note a day for 365 days. Maybe that should be my New Year's resolution. Come what may, I'm going to write 365 thank you notes this year, one a day. So something told him to begin by writing to his eldest son. His eldest son had given him a Keurig coffee maker for Christmas, and he thought, you know what, that gift really showed that he knew me. He knew the kind of person I was. He knows I'm a notorious caffeine freak. So he sat down to write this thank you note to his son, thanking him for his thoughtfulness, and then he realized he didn't even have his son's address. Oh, he had his email, and he could text him, but he wanted to do this old-fashioned thing of writing a handwritten note. That I-thou relationship was what he was trying to build stronger. In any case, John called his son to get the address, and when he had him on his phone, his son said, you know what, Dad? I was going to call you. I wanted to get together with lunch for you. Can we do that? And Dad said, sure. And so while they were at lunch, his son said, Dad, you know, I've been wanting to give you something. And so he hands him this check, and it's a check for $4,000. And John looks at the check and looks at his son, and his son said, Dad, remember in 2000 when I was really struggling, you gave me a loan for $4,000? And his dad said, I forgot all about that. And the son said, well, I never did. And I can give you this money now, and so I want to pay back the loan. John was astounded because, you know, he really needed the money more than ever. And so he took that check home and looked at it and sat down and wrote another thank you note to his son, thanking him this time for repaying the loan, and admitted to his son how much that $4,000 meant to him. One by one, day after day, he wrote thank yous. He wrote them for gifts, for kindnesses he'd received from loved ones and co-workers, for past business associates who now were sending him clients, and he was getting more clients than he knew what to do, and for current foes and college friends and doctors and store clerks and handymen and neighbors and anyone, really, absolutely anyone who'd done him a good turn, however large or small. Now, John says, I don't want you to think this is a magical thing. It had nothing to do with magic. But he said, immediately after I started sending those first notes, significant and surprising benefits began to come my way. From financial gain with all these clients to true friendship, from weight loss to inner peace. He said, it just was because now I had this whole shift in attitude, shifted to this attitude of gratitude. It changed my perspective about what was important. While John wrote notes, the economy collapsed, the bank across the street from his office failed, but thank you note by thank you note, John's whole life continued to turn around. To his surprise, gratitude really was his way to a more balanced life. When the year was up, and he wrote out his last card, 365, he put his pen down and he felt very accomplished. 365 notes and 365 days. But the next day, he felt like something was missing. He said, I discovered I needed to continue to connect and express that gratitude daily. And so he picked up that pen and wrote another note and another note. He has since written a book titled, and you can look this up on Amazon, 365 Thank Yous, the year a simple act of daily gratitude changed my life. John's positive attitude of gratitude led to him achieving dreams that he had held for a long time, but never seemed to be attainable for him. He said, I think it was that shift in attitude that changed things. In September of 2009, 21 months after John began his daily expressions of gratitude, he was appointed as judge of the Superior Court by former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he was reappointed in 2012 and will serve until 2019. Judge John Kralik admits, there were some setbacks in my journey, but in the act of being thankful and expressing real gratitude, people began to see me differently, and my world began to thrive. What's beyond thanks? I think it's gratitude. Real gratitude. Wouldn't our world be a better place if we spent more time expressing gratitude and less time complaining? This year, as we continue to move forward with our Live, Love, Stop Hate campaign, I believe one way we can demonstrate love is by expressing gratitude. Gratitude for all the ways God is at work in our lives and in the life of our congregation. Gratitude for all those things that people around us do. I'm going to strive to live beyond thanks and live into the gratitude that's rooted in my faith. I stand here to tell you I'm launching my program today. My program is Living Love with Notes of Gratitude. Not just sappy notes, but real I-thou notes of thanksgiving. I'm committing to write a note a day for 30 days. And maybe that will grow into 60 days. You can check on me to keep track. I've got my cards. This is 8. I need to get more and more and more. They say it takes 21 days to start a habit. So who knows? Maybe I can write 365. Want to join me?